All right, now I started it. All right. So we are at the characteristic of the man of wisdom, Sthita Prajna ki Lakshan. So just quickly recap, the little bit so that we have a good connection of what we are doing now. So the first one, Krishna Bhagwan was said in verse 55 that when a man completely casts off all desires of mind and satisfied in the self by the self, then he is said to be of steady wisdom. So he is established in that highest knowledge, very seriously he is established. And then because he's established, all his desires of the mind go away. And the next one he said, and his mind is not shaken by adversity. Who does not hanker after pleasure? So here the main thing is hanker after pleasure. He's not saying that when something comes to you, don't enjoy. You can enjoy whatever you want to do, but don't hanker after it. Who is free from attachment, fear, and anger. And then we had studied that how attachment causes fear and anger. It's the kind of the same thing, modification of the attachment or desire in our mind. That person is called steady wisdom. Then he said, किसी और का भी कुछ आ रहा है आप नॉइज whose house the bird is chirping? I can hear a bird chirp.
Yeah, I can hear the birds chirping too.
Yeah. Which is kind of a nice, but just to practice that muting and unmuting.
I'm also sitting in the garden.
Oh, okay. So do you know how to mute and unmute? Manju? Do you know how to mute and unmute your stuff?
No, not really, but I will try.
Okay, so I'm muting you right now, and then when you want to speak, then you can raise your hand. I can unmute also. So that way the disturbance is not there, that's all. Okay, so the next one was he who is everywhere without attachment. So what Krishna Bhagavan was trying to say, that a person of steady wisdom just doesn't stay at his home and in the cave or anything. He actually does everything in the marketplace and goes around in the world. He's everywhere, meeting with good and bad, but then he neither rejoices when something great happens or not he hates. His wisdom is fixed. So these are the lakshan, okay? And then the last one that we did, last two, was he gave an example of tortoise. He said his senses are under control. So that means he can project the senses at will and withdraw them. हम लोग का होता है कि it is just अपने आप senses भागने लगते हैं, उसका control में रहता है. और उन्होंने दिया example of a tortoise. And then the last one we did was that once we learn to control the senses, the objects also turn away from us. वो जो हम जिसकी हमको चाहत नहीं है वो हमारे पास आएगा ही नहीं है. That's what we studied. But sometimes what happens that seemingly it might look like that I have sense control, but अगर वो उसकी रस मेरे दिमाग में रह गया या मेरे मन में, तो वो कभी भी फूट सकता है. The difference between the man of steady wisdom versus people who are striving towards it and have a partial success is the one who is a steady wisdom, उसमें रस भी खत्म हो गया उसके लिए. He just does not care about the pleasure from the world. That's what the difference between the two is. So
my audio is stopped somehow. I can't hear you guys.
Maybe you could hear before.
I can hear you, but I can't see the video. Okay, I'll restart it. Don't get disturbed. Okay.
So any question on this this thing that I just talked about? Should everybody clear on that, right? So if everybody is okay with it, I'll go to the next one, what today's verse is. So I'm going to just say it twice, and the second time you can just repeat it in your own home, because if everybody speaks together, then again it messes up the audio. Yatato yapi kaunteya, yatato yapi kaunteya, purushasya vipaschitaha, purushasya vipaschitaha, indriyani pramathini, indriyani pramathini, haranti prasabham manaha, haranti prasabham manaha. Yatataha, of the striving. There's one word called yati, means a person who is like a seeker, or one who is striving is called yati. He is indeed, api is even, Kaunteya, son of Kunti. So you will see that how Krishna Bhagavan chooses the right sambodhan, jisko bolte hain na, right name for Arjun at the right time psychologically. So he's saying, because he's talking about sense. Excuse me. 1 second. He's talking about sense control. So he's saying that, look, you are son of Kunti, who is such a great woman, and you know that Kunti ko kitna sanyam tha, how much she had to face, and she still kept steadfast and, her mind in God. That's why he's calling her Kaunteya. Purushasya is of man, Vipaschitaha is wise, Indriyani is the senses, Pramathini, turbulent, Haranti, carried away, Prasabham, violently, Mana, the mind. So let me give you the background, what he's going to say, then it'll become easier as we go. So he's going to talk about now the power of senses. He's saying senses are extremely powerful. And if you are not on your guard, they can violently carry you. You won't even know it. And you are already gone. And, if you think about it, see our sight, how far we can see. We are sitting here and, if I look up in the sky, I can see up to the stars. We don't think about it, how powerful our senses are. Hearing, तो उससे भी जो मेरे को दिखाई देता है, उससे भी पार कभी-कभी आवाज सुनाई देती है. Sugandh also can come from far. So their reach is very far and they are also very powerful. That's what he's saying. So he's kind of cautioning us that, what to do. And then another thing that the theme kind of goes continuously, is going to spill over in chapter 3. He's going to talk about much in detail about how to control the senses, because it almost like किसी को अगर वो spiritual path में चलना हो ना, so that is like the first thing we have to start doing. And another example I want to give, and it will make sense that why that is so important, is remember the chariot example that we have discussed. So Krishna Bhagavan ka chariot that represent our whole body, mind, intellect, everything. उसमें senses, anybody remembers क्या है senses इसमें? आपको unmute करना होगा, 1 minute, मैं करती हूँ. हाँ, बोलिए अनिल जी, मैंने कर दिया unmute.
I think the senses are the horses.
Correct. So now imagine if you're sitting on the chariot and the horses suddenly start going different direction. Crash. So even if you, तुम्हारे मन में रस है, तो भी it's better to control at the senses. And the other example of control of the senses is so much necessary. Is suppose anger is rising in me. And once we have studied Bhagavad Gita, we know anger rises from your own desire. I want certain thing to happen certain way, and the obstruction comes, that's my anger. But in anger, the first thing that happens to people is we start saying bad things. So what he's saying over here is we have to control the speech at that time. It's better to control at the sense level. Then he's going to give you technique how to dissolve it, all those things in your mind. So sense level control, he's saying, is a first thing we have to start doing if we want to progress in the spiritual life. So that's what but he's also cautioning that, look, it is very strong, so be on your guard a lot. Because and then we have so many Puranic stories, right? कि बड़े बड़े महात्मा, फिसल गए and all that. Those are, to tell you the force of the senses. So just keep that in mind when we are going further on this. Okay, Anil ji, आप पढ़ेंगे?
Yeah, sure. The turbulent senses, O son of Kunti, do wildly carry away the mind of a wise man, though he may be striving to control them. In his discourse so far, the Lord has emphasized that a perfect master is the one who has complete control over his sense appetites. In India, a mere philosophical idea in itself is not considered to be anything more than a poetic ideology, and it is not accepted as a spiritual thesis unless it is followed by a complete technique by which the seeker can come to live it in his own subjective experience. True to this traditional Aryan faith, in the Gita too, the Lord indicates to Arjun the practical method by which he should struggle hard in order to reach the eminence of perfection as a man of steady wisdom.
So here what he's saying, Swami ji just saying that उन्होंने बता दिया कि भाई ये लक्षण हैं स्थित प्रज्ञ के, वो हमारा गोल है, मगर खाली गोल बताने से कुछ नहीं होने वाला. He has to tell you the technique how to reach there. So these verses are not only telling us that कि उसके लक्षण क्या है, उसका सेंस कंट्रोल एकदम परफेक्ट है, मगर is also telling you kind of the problems that can come for us if you want to reach there. That's what. So the techniques are going to be revealed. That's what he's saying.
The ignorance of the spiritual reality functions within any individual in three distinct aspects. 1. Unactivity, sattva. 2. Activity, rajas. 3. Inactivity, tamas. When the sattva aspect in us is molested by the wailing of the intellect, avarna, and the lack of tranquility of the mind, vikshpa.
Vikshape. It's called vikshape.
Vikshape.
Huh.
Then we come to experience the sorrows that are caused by mind's endless roamings through the sense organs. Unless well controlled, they will drag the mind to the field of the sense objects and thus create a chaotic condition within, which is experienced as sorrow. The fact.
So maybe I will just explain this. You may know it, you may not. He has used this couple of words that will come much later. He explains more that ignorance is when the truth is veiled. तभी वो उन्होंने आवरण बोला. आवरण बोलते हैं ना, आवरण means covering हो जाती है. When we don't see the truth and then we project in the world through our own mind, something that is not really a truth, imagination in our own mind. Those can be of three different types, he's saying. Sattva, rajas and tamas. And unactivity is when कोई योगस्थ होके काम करना शुरू कर देता है ना, उसको unactivity बोलते हैं. When उसके कर्म उसको बांधते नहीं है. That's called unactivity. And activity is rajas, constantly working, with all these name, fame, uske liye. Inactivity, we already know. Inactivity is like when you become totally lazy. You don't even want to do. Okay? So that's what he's talking about. And avarna or vikshape, एक तो cover हो जाता है और एक mind is totally agitated. The reason of agitation is we don't see the truth. We are seeing something imaginary, and that imaginary thing always has problems in it. It's never perfect. So that's why we have agitations in the mind. For example, we might, समझो किसी से हमारा द्वेष है, तो वो आदमी जैसे ही सामने आता है ना, we start thinking bad about that person. That kind of thing is called vikshape. So we don't see the God in him, and we just keep thinking. And he may not have even he may have done something 10 years ago, and now he has totally changed, and we still look at him like that. Just worldly example I'm giving, So he's saying unless all these things are controlled, the mind will drag. So here Swamiji is giving different techniques that, be aware of these things in your life. And then you will have a better chance at the sense control. Okay?
The fact that this happens even to a highly evolved seeker is here accepted by the statement of the Lord. With this assertion, he is warning the seeker within Arjun that he should not, on any score, let his objective mind get hold of and enslave his subjective intellect. This warning is quite appropriate and timely within the scheme of thought in this chapter.
So he's just saying that you have to be constantly on your guard, because a seeker very quickly, if you don't connect to that higher self all the time, it will very quickly, the world will quickly drag you down, and you will start doing, you do a little bit of progress in your spiritual life and then you go the other way. Very easy to drop our sadhana. That's what he's telling you. And it happens to many people. In the beginning, they have a lot of enthusiasm. They come, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, And one of the great example in the Western world is New Year resolution. सब लोग इतना excited होते हैं, ये वो पता नहीं क्या क्या resolution बनाते हैं, and then 99% of them go wayside. You don't need a New Year's time to make a resolution. So you just, so the whole thing. So that's what he's talking about.
Invariably among those who are practicing religion, common cause by which very many true seekers fall away from the path is the same all over the world. After a few years of practice, they no doubt come to live in a certain inexplicable inward joy. Then being overconfident and then even vainful of their progress, they relax in their tapas.
Here, very important what he's saying. Did you see what he's saying? Come to live in a certain inexplicable inward joy. Okay, good. Overconfident ho jate hain, and often vainful of their progress. Like start advertising. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Vainful. Those are the dangers. So there are a lot of time, like our teacher used to say, your own sadhana is your own personal journey. You don't need to go and advertise to anybody. When they see the change in you, they'll come to you. Hey, what you're doing, tell me. Then you can tell them. This class is an exception, okay? So don't, here if you want to talk, there is a purpose. But I'm talking in general, to friends and things like that. You can tell them, hey, this is there, but you don't need to push it too much, because then we become vainful about it.
Once they come back to the field of the senses, the turbulent senses violently snatch the mind away from the poise of perfect meditation.
So, any question on this particular concept, that what he's talking, or anybody want to share anything, personal experience or anything like that? Or do I go forward? Everybody very quiet. So the basic message is giving you that at a sense level, we got to be very cautious, because they are very powerful. And if you really want to do the sadhana, then you have to control at the sense level a lot. And we can start with those few things, about not speaking in anger and things like that. Those are very good sadhanas. And also, just to remind you that jo food ka karte hain na log, control of the food also, it's basically for that purpose only, to have a more control over the rest of the senses. But that's one of the sadhana it can be done, but it has to be done in a balanced way also. He's going to talk about that balance, because some people go overboard and we don't need to do that. So you have to see what is right for your own self. And it's maybe we cannot copy other people. Oh, that person is doing, that's why I don't need to do. No, we have to look at our own self. Okay. So, and now he is going to go, the next verse is, एक तो उन्होंने बोल दिया कि सेंस कंट्रोल करो, लेकिन अगर खाली सेंस कंट्रोल कर देंगे ना, and not have the other aspect, what to do with the senses, there's a huge problem for humans. Because if we don't have a higher goal, there'll be a complete disaster. Suppression, जिसको बोलते हैं ना. So, खाली control करना is not enough. So, what is the next aspect of it he's going to tell. Okay? Because remember, जो पहुंच गया है वहाँ पर, उसका अपने आप control हो जाता है. He doesn't even have to worry about it because he's already established. He's talking about us, our journey. So that's why he's going to tell us what to do now. Okay? So 61. Tani sarvani sanyamya Tani sarvani sanyamya Yukta asita matparaha Yukta asita matparaha Vashe hi yasyendriyani Vashe hi yasyendriyani Tasya prajna pratishtita Tasya prajna pratishtita. Okay, who else has a book? I think Shireen has a book. You have to unmute.
Unmute.
Yeah, okay, I did it for you. I can hear you now. Okay.
Having restrained them all, he should sit steadfast.
Oh, wait, one minute. I did not do the Sanskrit, did I? Let me do the Sanskrit
No,
and then
you
you can
didn't.
hear. Tani is them, Sarvani is all, Sanyamya, having restraint. Sanyam जिसको बोलते हैं ना करना. Yukta, joined. Asit, should sit. Matparaha. Matpara, intent on me, on thinking of me. That's called, he's talking about Krishna Bhagavan when he says, remember, when he says think about me and all that, he is not talking about Krishna Bhagavan as a body. Because a lot of people have a lot of confusion in Bhagavad Gita that, why is he saying me? No, he's talking about me as Atma. Me as that Atma which is in everybody. Me as consciousness. So just whenever he's saying me, from now on he's going to say that a lot. So just remember that. He's identified with that higher self completely. That's why he's saying that. So, Matpara, intent on me. Vashe is under control. He is indeed. Yasya, whose. Indriyani is senses. Tasya is his. Prajna is wisdom. Pratishtita is settled. Okay. Go ahead.
Having restrained them all, he should sit steadfast, intent on me. His wisdom is steady, whose senses are under control.
So there are a couple of things over here. Firstly, जो स्थित प्रज्ञ है ना, या पर्सन ऑफ स्टडी विजडम, वो हमको ऐसे देखने से नहीं पता चलेगा कि ही इज मैन ऑफ स्टडी विजडम. उसके लक्षण से पता चलेगा. सो वन ऑफ द मेन लक्षण इज कि उसके सेंसेस आर अंडर कंट्रोल. सो इट्स लाइक अ इफेक्ट से हमको पता चलता है कि वो what is the real person inside. Lot of people, maybe a lot of big pundits out there, and they can just give big discourses and everything, but their senses are not under their control. Then he's not a man of steady wisdom. So here this is one of the lakshan. And then he's going to say, having restrained them all, he should sit steadfast, intent on me. So जो साधना के लिए हमको बता रहे हैं ना क्या करना चाहिए. So it's like catching from both ends. Okay, then we will be successful. तो पहले तो सेंस कंट्रोल शुरू कर दिया, and then अपना माइंड ऊपर वाले में लगाओ. In simple words, constantly you have that connection. Or when you sit in meditation, because meditation में भी first thing sense control ही बोलते हैं ना, कि भाई come and sit down and a comfortable place and make sure that it's not very noisy, and that's all sense control. And then you contemplate on the higher, or it can be an image, it can be whatever your sadhana is to do. All those are means, but the goal is the same. Connect to the higher. You can do it. Some people put a mombati ka flame, some put Bhagwan ka picture, some just think about it, some think about Om. We are doing Mandukya, it's going to tell you, how to do the sadhana on the Om. All those are the same purpose. So he's saying that, so one side you control the senses, the other side you put your mind in Bhagwan, and then our wisdom will become steady. So this verse has both things in it. It tells you the lakshan of the sthita prajna, and it also tells you the path how to get there for us. Any question about that? No? Okay.
Since the sense organs are thus saboteurs in the kingdom of the spirit that bring the disastrous downfall of the empire of the soul, Arjuna is warned here that as a seeker of self-perfection, he should constantly struggle to control his sense organs and this mad, lustful wanderings in their respective fields. Modern psychology would certainly look down with a squint eye upon this Gita theory because according to Freud and others, sensuousness is instinctive in man and to curb it would lead to an unnatural separation.
So either, you saw that the Western thing is, okay, your senses are there, why not enjoy and all that? But we have learned that what are the downfall of all that, because senses never get satisfied. You always want more and more, and then they get tired, and then they get sick and all those things. So, sometimes when we are teaching to the younger children, sense control, the word they don't like very much. So one of our Gurujis, Tejomayananji, who was number 2 head of, now we have a third one. After Chinmayananji, he's the one took over. He came up with a very beautiful word. He calls it sense management. Everybody likes the word management. How to manage your senses. So people like that. Okay, I think I can live with this. The moment sense control बोला तो लगता है कि सभी को साधु बना रहे हैं यहाँ पे भागो यहाँ से, something like that. So if you don't like the word sense control, you can take the sense management, because even for our health purposes we need that. So here in the Western world, it's like, hey, if you're going to suppress your desires, it's going to just blow up. Vedanta is not denying that. It's saying that's true. Then what you should do. So इसमें इन्होंने ये word नहीं use किया, but I'm going to tell you another word that's Chinmayananji used. It's called sublimation. One is suppression and one is sublimation. Suppression is when you don't have a higher goal, you don't know what you're doing, and somebody just told you to sense control, then you're doing sense control. And वो जो व्रत वगैरह करते हैं ना इंडिया में, that's a perfect example of it. किसी ने बताया नहीं. What is the meaning of, the upvas? They call it, everybody knows the word upvas, right? Mera upvas hai. They don't think about what the word upvas means. Upvas means to sit near. Vas karna. Up means uppar baithna. Near God. So the reason you do the food control is because अगर बहुत ज़्यादा भारी खाना खा लिया, नींद आएगी, शुद्धिकरण नहीं होगा अपनी बॉडी का, So basically it's like when you're eating less and you are eating light, you are more likely to meditate and think about God. Otherwise, but India में उसका रूप इतना बिगड़ा, people watch movie all day and then they आज नमक नहीं खाना है तो आज वो नहीं खाना है, and then they eat the other stuff, खाली मीठा खाना है and all, because they just don't. So इतना रूप उसका बिगाड़ा हुआ है. So sense control, वो context maybe please think about that, because these are the things you will know the right method now, that what he's talking about. So sublimation is when by understanding something very deeply, then I do the sense control, फिर वो ना dissolve हो जाता है. Because if I don't do that, or suppose sugar किसी की problem है, the reason we are more likely to control the sugar is it's going to be bad for my body. So I have a deeper understanding in my mind. I am more likely to control, because if I don't do it, then there will be this problem. So even spiritually, if I have a better understanding that this is why I'm doing it, then you will have a better control. Otherwise, it will be just suppression is going to come out like a क्या बोलते हैं उसको, ज्वालामुखी, to फट जाएगा एकदम से. So sublimation is very important, and the second part of this verse is telling you how to sublimate it. You give yourself a higher goal. And then we have discussed this, that if you do give a higher goal, it automatically starts dissolving. Nobody needs to come and convince you anymore, that I need to do this, because that is the best way to do it, is, go to the, and then I was thinking of the very good example that we sometimes use in our classes is when you are climbing on a step, a CDP, like a ladder. So what do? We put one foot, then we put another foot on the top, but then we drop the lower one, right? So same way, when you go slowly up, is you're dropping something below and you're hanging on to something higher. So for our human mind, we cannot suddenly go to the top. That's another very important thing, that when we do a sense control, we have to do it more like what I can handle. That's why those New Year's resolution fail, because एकदम से ऐसा high goal कर दिया तो कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. Look at yourself and then see every time you're improving a little bit, then you can go up. So keep giving yourself higher and higher goal, and if you can somehow connect to God at the highest level, that's the best. Then it will get convinced at your deepest level. You will get convinced, and then here in chapter 2, he's not going so much in detail. In chapter 3, he's going to go very much in detail how to do it. He's going to tell you, and I'm jumping the gun, but I think you guys are, you'll understand what I'm saying even now, that he says the senses are more powerful than the body, and then mind is more powerful than the senses. Because remember, senses have only one thing it can do. That's it. Eyes can only see, it cannot hear. But when the information comes to your mind, all 5 of them, the mind can see it, hear it, everything, the mind. And then that's one point why mind is more powerful. Secondly, if my mind is not in something, my senses have no power. I may be seeing something, but if my mind is somewhere else, it's as good as I'm not seeing it. That's why the mind is more powerful. But mind is gathering the data. Mind is also at a lower level. The intellect is at even higher level than the mind. So if I'm seeing something, my senses want to do it because they find pleasure in it. But my intellect says, hey, this is the wrong thing to do. If my intellect is a little stronger, it will stop the mind. And in that way, control the senses. And then we are going to learn that intellect se bhi zyada higher hai consciousness, because intellect gets its power from consciousness. So if somebody raises themselves to that level, all of them get automatically just control ho jata hai, So that's why here he's just mentioning it, but there he's going to go more in detail. And then he's going to also tell us that we all are born with likes and dislikes. There's nobody on this earth which doesn't have that. You guys agree on it? You can nod your head. That we all have likes and dislikes because we are born into it almost. That's why the babies also sometimes have likes and dislikes. Oh, yeah, this baby likes this food, and very quickly they start showing it. But the difference between us and the animals cannot change their likes and dislikes. They have a very, very small threshold to change it. You can train the dogs and all, little bit, dolphins and all those, but that's about it. Humans are the only ones that you can rationalize something, give up something, and do so. So he calls it rising above the likes and dislikes, or not coming under the sway of likes and dislikes, because the senses are powered by likes and dislikes. So he's going to do the whole science of it in chapter 3. But I think the reason I'm bringing that up, you'll understand this verse also better, because the reason he's saying that कहाँ से power मिलता है senses को. So वो likes and dislikes की वजह से power मिलता है. Kamla ji, are you trying to say something? Yeah.
Hear me?
Yeah, now I can. बोलो. कुछ बोलना चाहते हो आप?
Yes. So I wanted to add something. So senses are at the lowest level. Mind controls senses. Intellect control mind. Consciousness control intellect.
Perfect.
And then above that there is super consciousness.
Okay, here in this, I just want to interrupt you 1 minute. Here when we say consciousness, we are talking about the highest one. They are not distinguishing between the two consciousness or anything in this context over here.
Okay.
Because when you go too technical, तो उसमें एक ईश्वर है और एक ब्रह्मन है, okay? ईश्वर is a total mind and all. We are not getting into it. Basically, here he is talking about the highest only.
Okay.
So, and then when you said senses से lowest है body, because senses जब control करता है ना, तो फिर it makes the body do things. You know, जैसे कि मैंने कुछ देखा और मेरी I want to go there, then मेरे पाँव चल के जाएंगे वहाँ पे. Okay, so there's one more level. So it's body, senses, mind, intellect, consciousness. So the जितना ज़्यादा तुम हायर ढंग से उसको पकड़ोगे ना, उतना नीचे वाले सब कंट्रोल हो जाएंगे. लेकिन कृष्ण भगवान क्या बोल रहे हैं कि जो हम लोग शुरू में जो हम साधना करते हैं ना, तो we have to catch it from both sides. सेंस कंट्रोल यहाँ से शुरू करो और भगवान में मन लगाओ. फिर हमको बोलते हैं ना कि सराउंडेड बाय ऑल साइड्स द एनिमी, यू नो, because here later on he's going to talk about it in chapter 3 that our likes and dislikes are like roadside robbers. And the reason he said roadside robbers, like a डाकू होता है ना, डाकू कैसे पाउंस करता है, हम लोग जब कहीं जा रहे होते हैं रोड पे, उसको हमारे से कोई दुश्मन ही नहीं है, but he will just opportunist. He will pounce on you and before you know it, he'll grab you. So same way senses are like that. They are very powerful. If you're not on your guard, they will pounce upon you. And जैसे meditation में बैठे हम लोग, suddenly we start thinking about something and 10 मिनट के बाद पता चलता है कि I'm thinking of, I came here to meditate and I'm thinking about some other person and what he did and things like that. That's another example, you know. So, and about controlling, one of the very good example is like river का जो dam बनाते हैं ना, उसको सोचो आप कि अगर आप किसका कुछ घंटी बज रही है किसी की. I'm trying to mute. Not sure.
It's somebody's chimes.
Yeah, okay.
Must be
It's the wind in the garden. I think Manju
Kamla is in the garden. Kamla ke
It's
chimes
okay. I just muted it, so you can unmute yourself. So I think another one or twice. क्या बोला आपने?
I said there is no sound at my level.
Okay, but do you know how to mute and unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just muting it right now. When you want to talk, you can do that. Okay, so I was talking about the river. Just think about the river कि उसमें एक हमने dam बना दिया. Okay, river is very strong, so the पानी जम रहा है वहाँ पे. अगर उसको हम channel नहीं करेंगे, so the whole thing will crash, you know. And we have seen it happened in Houston, you know, when they didn't do the good job about channeling and it got flooded, you know. So many houses got flooded by the human mistake, you know. So what Swamiji says that just after you have controlled the senses, you give it a channel to go higher. If you won't, there'll be a big crash. So in this verse, that's what he's going to be talking about. Okay. So here, Shireen.
According to the West, to control is to suppress. No science of mental life can accept that suppression is psychologically healthy. But the Vedic theory is not pointing to any mental suppression at all. It is only advising an inward blossoming, an inner growth and development by which one's earlier fields of enjoyments through the senses drop out to make room for the perception of a newer field of ampler joys and more satisfying bliss.
So everybody understood what he's talking about. It's talking about not suppression, but an inner blossoming. And then we have discussed that many times, the things that we liked 15, 20 years ago, we don't care that much at all about it, you know, because inner blossoming has happened and we don't find no joy in that, but because we find joy in something higher now, something nobler and all that. That's what he's talking about.
This idea is very well brought out here. When Lord Krishna, as though in the very same breath, repeats both the negative and the positive aspects of the technique of self-development. He advises not only a withdrawal from the unhealthy gutters of sensuousness, but also gives a healthy method of doing so by explaining the positive technique of self-perfection. Through a constant attempt at focusing our attention on me, the Supreme, he advises the disciples to be steady.
So we already discussed that, right? What he's saying, he's talking about the negative aspect of the whole thing is, okay, control your senses, and positive aspect is you think of Bhagwan and or some higher thing.
In this simple looking statement of half a verse, the Gita explains the entire technique of self-development. Immoral impulses and unethical instincts that bring a man down to the level of a
Mere brute
are the result of endless lives spent among sensuous objects during the infinite number of different manifestations through which the embodied soul, the ego in each one of us, had previously passed. It is humanly impossible for an individual to erase and transcend in this lifetime the thick coating of mental impressions gathered along his journey from life to life, from embodiment to embodiment. Naturally, this is the despair of all the promoters of ethics, the teachers of morality and the masters of spirituality. The rishis of the old time.
Anil ji, 1 minute. I think he has. आपको कुछ कहना है ना?
Okay.
नहीं, मेरे को सुना नहीं.
Unmute.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Unmute.
Okay.
Now.
So when he's talking about the thick coating of mental impressions gathered along his journey from life to life. So when somebody is in meditation and is focused on the higher consciousness, then these coatings start to melt away by itself. Isn't that true?
True. That's exactly what he's saying. और he's saying that अगर खाली sense control शुरू कर दो ना, वो नहीं होगा हमारे से. Okay? थोड़ा बहुत होएगा because मैंने वो जो likes and dislikes जो impressions है वो इतने strong हैं because we know lifetimes के बने हुए हैं. तो इसके लिए what you are saying is 100% true. That जितना higher हम लोग उसको रहेंगे उतना melt होता जाएगा. That's why if you are doing meditation works so good. But meditation we know the little pitfalls are there if your mind is not pure. That's why karma yoga you continuously do साथ में, so purify होता जाएगा, फिर वो जल्दी roast होएगा सब कुछ. Because you will understand the nature more and more, and you will have a deeper understanding when you study the shastras. It will go deeper into you. So you're on the right track. Yeah.
The rishis of the old times, in their lived experience, discovered for themselves a technique by which all these mental tendencies could be eradicated. To expose the mind to the quiet atmosphere of meditation upon the all-perfect being is to heal its ulcers. By this process, the one who has come to gain a complete mastery over his sense organs is considered as the one who is steadfast in wisdom.
So now you saw exactly what you were saying, Anilji, that's the best way to get rid of it, and then that's how the man of steady wisdom, his sense organ becomes completely under his control. उसको कुछ रस ही नहीं है उसमें वर्ल्डली चीज़ों में, इसीलिए वो उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता ना. उनके जो लक्षण बताए, कुछ अच्छा मिल गया बुरा मिल गया, उसको कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. ही इज हैप्पी नो मैटर व्हाट.
The concealed suggestion in the stanza now becomes quite obvious as follows. No one who with an excessive force controls his indriyas by sheer strength of will and a sense of abstinence has any chance of flowering into a full-blown spiritual beauty. He who has all of his sense organs of their own accord lying tamely surrendered at his feet, and who has come to rediscover the infinite perfection in himself, is called a man of perfection. Neither has he ruined his instruments of cognition, nor has he closed down the arches of knowledge in him. A perfect one is he whose sway over the animal within is so complete that the inner Satan has become, for the sage in him, a tame Caliban to run errands and serve faithfully.
A tame cannibal. Yeah, he uses very hi-fi language, but
Caliban.
yes. So I'm going to come to that what he's saying, and probably you already understood. But one of the thing that what Anilji was mentioning, I have a very nice analogy. That is said, how does it happen that you're thinking about God and all that, and then it will start melting away everything. So the analogy is given that it's like if you're very cold, you sit near the heat. So even though heat is not right now your nature, but that heat will transform to you, and you will start getting warmer and all that. The same way, when we are, contemplating on that Brahman, after we understood to a large extent what Brahman is, then, it will start giving its effect. Then your lower things will go away. And so that's one way that we can think about it, that